right, let's transition to Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So, as is normally the case when these two involved in the same story, even separate stories unto themselves, there is fake outrage, controversy, bad actors galore. We're not going to give them any airtime. We're not going to do that today. I've relitigated that enough. I've ranted on both sides as it pertains to the culture wars and the nonsense that has nothing to do with basketball, that were not put out by the WNBA, by its players, but by the media at large. So as far as the game yesterday, so Angel Reese's Chicago Sky went to Indiana to take on Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever. The Fever did win this basketball game, 91-83. The Fever won back-to-back games, 3 out of 4. And if the playoffs began today, ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Clark's in it. It's a 12-team WNBA. 8 teams get in. Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever would get in. And I think you're seeing a clear correlation between the Fever actually getting time in between games as opposed to what they weren't getting their first 11 games this season to rest. Caitlin Clark needs rest as much as any player in the WNBA because of the college schedule and her WNBA schedule. But you're seeing her play much better. Caitlin in this basketball game, by the way, dropped a 23, 9, and 8 on 23 points and 11 shots is like peak level efficiency. But there was controversy. So in the third quarter, Caitlin's driving to the basket down the left side, and Angel Reese comes out of nowhere, comes from behind her, and we could show you the video right here. It kind of whacks her in the head right there, and it was called a flagrant one. You'll see the replay a few more times here, but Angel Reese whacks Caitlin Clark across the head. It was deemed a flagrant one foul. Caitlin Clark, went to the line and knocked down her free throws. And again, Angel Reese was assessed a flagrant one foul. We'll show you one more look of it right there. And I do think that it is, for one, anybody debating, oh, this is a dirty play. I do not think it was a dirty play. I think it was what Angel said, and most notably, what Caitlin said, because I think this matters when you think about what happened with Kennedy Carter 2 weeks ago. Because Caitlin said after the game, they asked her, and she said it's a basketball play. And people are like, oh, she whacked her in the head. She was going for the ball. We could show the freeze frame right here. There's Caitlin getting hit over the head. Look at Angel Reese. Where's Angel Reese's line of vision directed towards? The ball. The white and orange ball, that's what Angel Reese is looking at. If she was like looking at Caitlin Clark or anything of that nature, if it looked intentional, that'd be a different story. You would probably be talking about certainly a flagrant 2 for Angel Reese, maybe even a potential suspension because of the severity of that foul. What I found interesting about that is the fact that when the whole Kennedy Carter thing happened with Caitlin Clark, when the Sky traveled to Indiana to take on the Fever 2 weekends ago, I thought it was very interesting because that was clearly intentional. Clearly, Caitlin's just standing there. You have Kennedy Carter, who has a history of these things in practice throughout her career. She yells the B word at Caitlin, comes in and blindsides her. And just assessed a flagrant 1, and there's the controversy around that. It was clearly an intentional play, clearly not a basketball play. And Caitlin said as much in an interview after the third quarter. She said, yeah, that's not a basketball play. In the case with Angel Reese, she said, verbatim, that's a basketball play. So in that regard, and some have even argued by the letter of the law, if you look at the definition of a flagrant foul, that you could argue it wasn't even a flagrant 1. I would have called it a flagrant 1. I would have called it a flagrant 1 in the NBA. You whack somebody clean across the head, whether you're going for the ball or not. Again, that's my definition. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but that's a flagrant 1 in my estimation. What I think is kind of the bigger topic of conversation, because Angel and Caitlin have now played each other 4 times over the course of the last, 15 months or so, or really, no, 14 months or so since last year's national title game. And Angel got the first one, LSU winning the national title in 2023. Caitlin's won 3 straight. The Elite 8 this year, the regular season game 2 weekends ago, and then yesterday. So Caitlin's on a 3-game winning streak against Angel Reese and is obviously, undeniably, and unequivocally the better player. And so for that reason, people are like, is it really a rivalry? Is Caitlin Clark, is Angel Reese a rivalry? Because you have one player, as good as Angel Reese is, and she is clearly the second best player of this rookie class, Caitlin Clark is in a class unto herself. Could I make the case? Because my definition of rivalry when it comes to teams, and even to a certain degree quarterbacks, because of the immense value they have on an organization, on a football team, that my definition of rivalry is man with the core players, the core sort of characters to the story that are involved in a playoff series, in a playoff game, or multiple series or games. Each team has got to get the other at least once. Got to give him at least once. If the Warriors had gotten the Cavs all 4 times, I'm sorry, that's not a rivalry. It's the thing that I've argued ad nauseum. I remember during January getting red in the face talking about it. The Josh Allen-Mahomes debate. Josh Allen is amazing. He's an absolute, no doubt, top 5 quarterback. Mahomes is obviously better. No, even Josh Allen fans would not argue that. Mahomes outplayed him all 3 playoff games. Chiefs have won all 3 playoff games. I can't deem that a rivalry. Like Golden State, Houston, oh man, they were going back and forth. It's not a rivalry. Golden State got him all 4 times. There's got to be, in a rivalry, some sort of push and pull. So you saw with Magic and Bird in the 80s, there was a back and forth. Lakers got one. Celtics got one. It was back and forth. So, by definition, Angel got Caitlin once. Caitlin's got her the next 3 times. You say, yeah, but A, different positions. Caitlin's a guard. Angel is a forward. And B, clear gap. Caitlin's much better than Angel, even though Angel's a good player. Could I make the case? And for the record, I am not saying that either of these particular players are going to accomplish in their field what these particular athletes accomplished in theirs. Same sport, by the way. But let's show you Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's stats head-to-head. This is when they're facing head-to-head. Caitlin, obviously much better, except for rebounds, much better than Angel. This is the 2 college games and the 2 WNBA games. Caitlin averages 26 points. Angel Reese doesn't even average half that at 12. Caitlin averages 6 rebounds. Angel more than doubles that at 14 rebounds. She's a double-double machine. Caitlin averages 8 assists, almost 9. Reese averages 3 assists, almost 4. And Caitlin, as a guard, not as a forward, as a guard, averages 45% for the field. Angel Reese averages about 32.5% from the field. So Caitlin's clearly better statistically in the 4 matchups. Now, what I'm about to show you is not 4 individual games, but rather 4 series. I'd make a case that it is akin to that of Steph Curry and LeBron James from the 15 to 18 finals. We can show you their numbers. So Steph puts up excellent numbers from the 15 to 18 finals. 25 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 42% for the field. You'd like that to be a little higher, but efficiency tends to go down in the finals, and shoots 39% from 3. Those are really good numbers. Then you look at LeBron numbers, you're like, holy crap. Darn near averages a triple-double. 33 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 48% from the field, basically 35% from three-point range. So LeBron, outside of three-point percentage, is better across the board against Steph Curry. Now, Steph's team won 3 times. Steph had the better team in certainly the last 2, and actually 3 of 4. 2016, it was a toss-up. The Cavs ended up winning that series, of course. We view Steph and LeBron as like, oh, that is the peak rivalry since Magic and Bird. Because you had Steph got in 2015 and LeBron got him in 2016. Then Steph got the next 2 after that. And even in the older years, the later years of their career, I remember a game in January, Steph versus LeBron. That was a classic. LeBron was amazing and Steph was amazing. And in a game that featured Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, D'Angelo Russell when he was hot, regular season D'Angelo Russell, all these guys, Steph and LeBron were clearly the best players on the floor at age 35 for Steph and age 39 for LeBron James. Even though LeBron was better than Steph in all 4, I would argue Steph played him at least somewhat after game 1 to a draw in the 2018 finals, but that's beside the point. LeBron generally was better than Steph. Caitlin's generally been better than Angel. But because there's a push-pull, and also because, and this is another, I won't go too far into the stuff that I've already talked about because it's exhausting. How outraged people get about the smallest things in the WNBA that are replicated in every other sport, particularly the NBA. But I do think that we are missing a key theme about what I deem to be a rivalry that we have been begging the NBA to give us. Real, unfabricated, authentic animosity. We've been looking for that. I mean, how long have we heard? Oh, man, NBA is too buddy-buddy. Everybody's friends with everybody. Everybody works out with everybody in the offseason. They know each other from AAU, and they're still cool. We don't like that, which I don't really understand because Charles Barkley golfed with Michael Jordan. Like, the whole buddy-buddy thing has been going on way before this generation. That's beside the point. But we have, in theory, been asking for that. Here you go. Angel Reese, you heard her after the game. She had a quote along the lines of, guess some players get a special whistle. Like I used to think that there wasn't any. I was wrong on that. I don't think Angel likes Caitlyn very much. Now, I think a lot of that, as I talked about before, stems from the fact that the greatest moment of my life, winning a national title, because I did a 5 to 10 second celebration that Caitlyn did days before, exactly the same as I did against Louisville, that I got nothing but hell from the internet for a year to a degree, still catch it, just because of that one innocent celebration. She didn't assault Caitlyn. She didn't flip Caitlyn off. She didn't get in her face. None of that. It was just a this and a this. That's all. So I don't think it's, again, what Animosity Angel apparently has for Caitlyn, I think is not as much at Caitlyn, although I think there is some of that, than at the coverage of that moment in 2023, which I understand, by the way. Whereas with Caitlyn, you've heard her quote. She praised Angel Reese after the game. She was talking about, Angel has done a lot of great things with the platform. She's got a great fan base, all this, all that. Caitlyn's handled this whole situation, perfectly. But also, I know this for a fact. I don't have to talk to Caitlin Clark or get a soundbite from Caitlin Clark to know this. I don't think Caitlin loved the fact that when Kennedy Carter committed the flagrant 1 2 weeks ago, that on that side of the floor with the Chicago Sky bench, Angel Reese almost in sequence to when Kennedy Carter bumps Caitlin, jumps up and pumps her fist. Yeah, let's go, Kennedy. It was like, wow, that came out of nowhere. And then yesterday, I know for a fact, Caitlyn doesn't love getting swatted over the head, because guess what? Nobody likes getting swatted over the head. So in that regard, there has to be at least some animosity on Caitlyn's part, even though she may not show it. Angel does show it. And so in that regard, I do think it's a rivalry, because I can make a strong case that as great as A'ja Wilson is, best player in the world, Brianna Stewart reigning MVP, Sabrina Ionescu, great, Kelsey Plum, Jewel Lloyd, all these great players, that these are the two most famous players in the WNBA. The moment between those two, the game, even leading up to that, the 2023 Women's National Championship game in college basketball, that moment was what spearheaded what we're seeing today with the growth of women's basketball. The fact that I am in the middle of an NBA Finals. My second topic is about the WNBA, a regular season WNBA game on a Sunday afternoon. They spearheaded that. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.